Halito. My name is Sarah Elisabeth Sawyer. I'm a Choctaw author and storyteller. I hail from the great state of Texas, but I am with the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. And we're going to get started right off with an animal story, an old Choctaw animal tale. And it's the story of how the turtle got cracks on his back. Of why the turtle has cracks on his back. We're going to learn how to do that today. What is your name? Alana. It's good to meet you. I'm Sarah. Would you come on up here with me, Alana? This is going to be our turtle right here. This is Alana, and she is going to be our turtle. Okay, so one day, Turtle was crawling through the forest. Can you crawl like a turtle? There you go. Turtle was crawling through the forest, and up in all the trees, all the birds are all excited and flying around, and Turtle's like, what's going on? Everybody's so excited. What are they doing? And so he decided to ask one of the birds, you want to come up here and be one of the birds? Can you fly? Can you fly? Huh? Come on up here. Come on up here. Okay, so Turtle's going to ask the birds, what's going on? What's all the excitement about? Come on, flap your wings. There you go. Flap your wings. And Turtle's crawling. And do you want to be one of our other birds? We need another bird. Come on up here. Flap your wings. Come on up. Just flap your wings. There you go. Okay, and Turtle, there you go. She knows how to do it. We've got a bird. All right. So Turtle asked the birds, what are y'all so excited about? And y'all keep flapping your wings. And Turtle keep crawling. And the birds say, well, we're getting ready to fly south for the winter. And Turtle says, oh, I want to go with y'all. And the bird says, oh, you can't go with us. You can't fly. And Turtle says, oh, I really wish I could go south with y'all for the winter. And so Turtle walks around the forest and crawls around and is thinking and thinking. And then Turtle has an idea. I'm going to get a big stick. And y'all are going to each hold it in your beak. And I'm going to hold it right in the middle with my mouth. And when y'all take off flying, I will go with you. And so the bird said, yeah, we can do that. Keep flying, birds. Keep flying. Keep flying. There you go. And so the bird said, yeah, we can do that. So Turtle goes crawling out the next morning, goes out in the forest, and hunts down and finds this big stick. Okay, so then Turtle brings it over here to the bird friends. Says, okay, I got the stick. Okay, birds fly. And you're holding the stick on one. Turtle, you're gonna hold the stick in your mouth, okay? Hold on tight. All right, birds fly. All right, ready? Now, they're gonna start flying. They're flying, and Turtle's so excited because he's now flying with the birds. And all the other animals are saying, look at Turtle flying with the birds. He's going south for the winter. And off in the distance, there were some crows. There were some crows off in the distance that saw them flying. And they were like, look at that turtle flying with the birds. Is that a fly, crows? And the crows come up and they're like, look at the turtle. And he's flying, she's flying with the birds. And they say, and the crows say, who ever thought of that was so smart? Who thought of that idea? And Turtle's was so proud and wanted everybody to know that I thought of this idea. And so Turtle opens her mouth to say, I did. And Turtle falls down and lands on her back and cracks her shell. And that's the story of why the turtle has cracks in his back. And it reminds us to not get too proud. And even when we're smart, sometimes we need to keep our mouth closed. Y'all give him a hand. Y'all take a bow. Take a bow. Good job, y'all. I have some special things for everybody today. That story is in our storytelling coloring book that you get to take home with you, especially for the awesome job that you did. Sorry, let me get a quick drink. Great job, guys. I borrowed this drum from the music room because I wanted to play a little tune and see if y'all recognize it, if I can do it. Let's see. Does anybody recognize that? Does anybody know what tribe that is? Think about what tribe. Parents? Anybody know what tribe always played this? Give up? It was the tribe of Hollywood directors. You will never hear any tribe actually play that lame of a tune on the drum. If you ever have a chance to go to a real powwow and hear real drumming and real Choctaw dance and sing in all nations. We have 500 nations in the Americas. So if you ever get a chance to do that, you will hear some real drumming and see some real native dancing. La la la. Sorry, I'm losing my place. Have any of y'all been on a bus? School bus? Pretty much everybody's been on a bus. Have you ever seen a Mrs. Baird's bread truck? Yeah, that dates you. And maybe a U-Haul truck, big U-Haul bus. Okay, imagine all of those kind of mashed together in some really odd-looking contraption, okay? The colors, the side roll-up doors and all. And that's what this bus looked like that rolled up to the corner of the school in 1963 in Fort Worth, Texas. And all the school children started gathering around it and checking it out, seeing, what is this bus? And then all of a sudden the side door rolls open and they have this amazing smell. It's the smell of hundreds of books. And so the children start getting on there, and there was one little girl named Linda Kay, and she was one of the first ones to get on that bus. And she got her library card and she started going through all the shelves. She could pick out 5 books. And so she started going through the shelves, and she found some Old West tales and some stories about Daniel Boone, and she started stacking them up, and she found 4 books. And she was just looking for that 5th one when she heard a voice behind her. And someone said, "Hola, ¿cómo estás?" And she turned around, there was this really pretty little Mexican girl standing there, Hispanic girl, standing there. And she was looking to make friends. She was brand new at that school and didn't have any friends. So Linda Kay, though, couldn't speak Spanish, even though she kind of looked Hispanic. And she said, "Sorry, no speak Spanish." So the girl walked off, and Linda Kay kind of sniffed, and she went back to looking for her books, because you see, she was Choctaw, Indian, and a lot of the kids didn't understand that. And so they shunned her, and she didn't have very many friends. So she continued looking through the books on the shelves, and she pulled one out. It said Native Americans. And she paused, and she's like, "No, I don't want to get that book." And she started to walk away, and she heard her daddy and something that he used to tell her all the time. And he used to tell her, be proud of being Indian. And so she was like, "Oh, he doesn't know what it's like going to school." And about that time, the book kind of tumbled off the shelf, and it landed, and it opened up to this picture of a young girl with reddish brown skin and braids. And she held that up, and she looked at it, and she said, "She looks like me." And so she started flipping through the pages and seeing all of the pictures that came to life to her of horses and teepees and mothers and fathers and farms. And she realized what her daddy said was true, that she needed to be proud. And she knew that's who she was created to be. And so from that time on, Linda Kay was always proud of who she was, of being Choctaw and being who she was. So remember, whoever you are, to be proud of who you were created to be, and to respect others for who they were created to be. And I want to introduce Linda Kay, and the story is my mom, Linda Kay, and that I based that on a lot of her stories that she told me of growing up in Fort Worth, Texas. And she's my inspiration and my pride of being Choctaw, and always taught me that. The dad in that story was my grandfather. Look at you. And in March of 2010, he became very ill, and she got to spend the week with him. And as he was laying in bed, she brought coffee to him. And out on the window, she heard this coo, coo. Can y'all do that? Coo, coo. What animal makes that sound? What bird? Huh? Coo, a dove. Coo, coo, not who. That was a good one though. I have an owl story, but we'll get to that. Yeah. So he said, he kind of lifted up, he said, that was a dove. You never hear those around here. And he went in the hospital and he didn't come out. He went to heaven. And at his service, we were remembering him and honoring his life. They released some doves. And one of the feathers landed at my mom's feet, and she picked it up, not sure what she was going to do with it, but she held on to it. And later on, the lady that we work for makes these soldered pendants, and she put the actual dove feather in my mom's pendant, and she made scanned copies for all of us to have. And on the back of it has my grandfather's name, William Kenneth Odell, and On the Wings of a Dove. Because On the Wings of a Snow White Dove was the song that he used to hold her and they would dance to, and she would stand on the top of his feet when she was 3 years old, and they would dance to that song. So that's my Choctaw heritage and where I get my pride of being Choctaw. And I just want to finish out with one story and have another thing that I want to give y'all at the end. But whenever the Choctaws, their original homelands were primarily in Mississippi, and our family owned an island there called Honey Island, and it was completely surrounded by the Yazoo River, and they raised geese and had an apiary, a honeybee farm. And when the treaties were signed, they had to leave. They had to move to Indian Territory. So they loaded up in the wagons. One of my great-grandfathers, William, was just about 12 years old. He was just a boy. And he had a younger brother named Benjamin, and he had his little baby sister, Anna. And his mother carried Anna in a paisley shawl that she kept tied around her. And she had the little brother, and then the father's name was Ezekiel. So they all traveled together in the wagons. And partway through the journey, the father fell ill. William's father fell ill with cholera. And the wagon driver stopped and said, "You have to get out." And so they put him out of the wagon. And the mother, Elsie, was also called the Little Blue Hen, and she got out of the wagon and said, "We're not going to leave him here alone." And the wagon driver said, He'll be gone. He'll be gone. Y'all need to just go with us." And she said, "No, we're not going to." And she got her children off and asked the wagon driver for a blanket and a day's rations, and he gave those to them and left. And so they took care of him. That night they built up a huge fire, because they had wolves were all around them. Can anybody make the sound of a wolf? Huh? Can you make a wolf sound? Oh, oh. So they're out here in the woods alone in the dark, and there's the sound of wolves all around them. So they built up a big fire, and they built up a barricade all around them of the branches, and they took care of their father. And the next night, he passed too. And they took care of laying him to rest, the boys. And they had to then carry on alone. So the mother, Elsie, she tied the baby to her, and she took the boys, and they started on their journey, and they came to the river, and the river was flooded, and they had to cross, and the river started sweeping them away downstream, and they nearly drowned, but they made it across, and they continued walking until they got to the fort where their relatives were called. And they brought them to their new home in Hugo, what's today Hugo, Oklahoma, but it was Indian Territory then. So that became known as the Trail of Tears, and that was the Choctaw removal from Mississippi in the 1830s. It took about 3 years for them to remove. A lot of families didn't even have a chance to pack their things. A lot of them were burned out in the night and had to flee on foot, and a lot of the children didn't even have shoes on. These are the treaties that were signed during that time period for them. Does anybody want a sticker? All the adults. Yeah, if you would. If you'll hand those out. Oh, this is the Great Seal of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. Our flag is a purple flag, but this is what's on it. It has a strung bow, a smoking pipe hatchet, and 3 arrows. That is the Great Seal of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. You're very welcome. There you go. And I have one more thing, if you could get the pins. There you go. You just pass those back, please. I have a video that I'm going to play right quick that is about being Choctaw. Do you have it? Awesome. Yeah. You go ahead and play it.
Being Choctaw is very heartfelt. It's a very emotional experience. It's something that I'm part of every day, that I live and I breathe and I feel.
Being Choctaw means being resilient.
We have been through and overcame many challenges in our history.
What it means to me to be a Choctaw is
To be keepers of our culture, to preserve and protect our heritage.
persevering, growing, and just being honest.
I feel very connected to my community. I feel very connected to my fellow tribesmen. And it's just an overwhelming, wonderful experience.
Our heritage and culture lives on. The Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma.
What do Choctaws wear today? What's their clothing? What do you think Choctaws wear today? Huh? Cowboy? Like cowboy hats and stuff? A dress? What kind of dress? A flappy dress? Could be. Any other guesses? I'm going to let y'all look at these pictures. This is the Choctaw traditional dress. That's what we wear when we're having celebrations, and you saw some of the pictures on there. They were doing the dances and all. But that's not what we wear every day. I have a Choctaw here today to model kind of what Choctaws wear today. So if you'll stand up right quick. My mom, Linda Kay, she is Choctaw, and as you can see, she has a beautiful red dress and her black slacks and shoes, and you may sit down. And I have another Choctaw here today that's just kind of dressed, just has scarf, pants, my artist hat. And so really Choctaws today, we don't dress very differently from anybody else. Choctaws just wear regular clothes, like you said, cowboy boots and jeans, anything like that. But these clothes are what we consider today our traditional clothes. Here you go. Oh, I'm sorry, whenever you're finished. These are our traditional dress that we wear, just like if you were getting dressed up for a party or something and you would wear something special. And that's what a lot of Choctaws wear today. I have one last little goodie to give you, and we're going to give it to your parents because it is a pin that you can get stuck with, but this is the Great Seal of the Choctaw Nation. And it is a pin on there that you can pin on there. But this is a very special, you can pin it to your bag, if they're good with it. It's just a little pin on the back, just like that, There you go. What you want? It's going to give you one too. Extra one. Yeah. Do y'all have any questions? I will do my best to answer about the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. Yes, sir.
No, I just wanted to ask you, how'd you end up in Cowtown?
In Cowtown, that was my papa's fault. He was raised actually, and he called it Durant, Oklahoma, and that's just over the Red River. And whenever he was young, his father passed away, and he was raised by his oldest sister, who raised him and his other younger siblings. And whenever he was in 11th grade, actually before that, I'm sorry, his mother left. His mother left them and moved down to Fort Worth. And whenever his father passed away and his sister was raising him, then when he reached 11th grade, he moved down to Fort Worth. And that's where he met and married my grandmother, and had my mom, and that was that. But actually, I don't live in Fort Worth now. I live in the great big town of Canton, Texas, about population of about 3,600 people, out just about 70 miles east of Dallas, or about 90 miles east of Fort Worth. So, no, I haven't gone too far from home. Yeah. Oh yes, we make several trips, and he would take them back to Oklahoma to see family and to make sure that he kept alive that Choctaw pride that was passed down from his father. And I've been going to the Choctaw territory for a long time. That where you saw that huge group of people walking with the flags out in front of them. That's our commemorative Trail of Tears walk that we have once a year, every year in May. And I've been going to that for at least 5 or 6 consecutive years. And we walk about 2 to 4 miles along the original trail that they took to Oklahoma. Oh, you're fine. Any other questions? What does Choctaw mean? That's a very good question. I know Oklahoma, Okla means red, Homa means man, so Oklahoma means red man, which is where they, Yeah, red people, red man, which is where they got the Oklahoma. Choctaw, that is something that I believe that was a name. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and it was actually a different spelling. CHOC. Yeah, for Choctaw. So yeah, very good question. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
So for this program here, what's your relationship with the museum?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you asked that because I didn't drag Kevin up here this time. I am with the Artist Leadership Program, which is sponsored by NMAI, the National Museum of the American Indian. Correct? I got that right this time. And Kevin is the program director for that. And they choose 4 artists every year to bring to Washington, D.C. for 2 weeks of research and artist training. And then we take that back to our communities and teach workshops. And actually, Maria is one of our other artists. Would you give your tribe and...
Oh, I'm from Canada.
Canada, yeah. Ojibwe. Ojibwe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's why I am here. I've been here all this last week, and I'll be here through next Saturday doing research. I get to go to the National Archives on Monday and see these original treaties that was in the handout, the treaties that were signed. They're kept in a vault with the first acts of Congress that were passed. So I will get to actually see those original treaties and a lot of other research and take back and teach a community writing workshop in Durant, Oklahoma. And we're going to put together a collection of Choctaw short stories. That's my project. And speaking of which, I meant to mention this earlier. Is anybody here familiar with Tim Tingle? He is awesome. He's a Choctaw author and storyteller and one of my mentors. And this is an excellent book. They have it right over here on this shelf called Crossing Balchita. And it's a wonderfully illustrated book, just a beautiful book that you'll probably want to pick up and get your own copy, but you can read your kids here. And that's Tim Tingle, and he is Choctaw. And that's actually a pre-removal story when they were in Mississippi. So it's an excellent book. Are there any other questions? Yes, sir? No, not Tim Tebow, Tim Tingle. The other famous Tim. Very nice, very nice. No, that's fine. No, Tim Tingle is actually in Texas as well, and he moved to Oklahoma for a while he was doing his Indian studies, and then he moved back to Texas. But he puts on the 5 Tribe Storytelling Conference every year in Muskogee, Oklahoma that I go to. So yeah, and he's been here storytelling too, down in the Potomac area. It's an excellent storyteller. Yeah. Any other questions? Any comments? You don't have a question? You did a great job. Great bird. All right, well, I want to thank you all for coming. I hope you got something out of it and enjoy your goodies. If you want any extra things to take home to anybody, just let me know. But Yakoki, have a good day.